Welcome back to the Daily Drum on WHUR and Sirius XM Channel 141. I'm Harold Fisher. Thanksgiving is just 3 days away. As you're making plans to roast the turkey with all of the trimmings, you should also make plans not to overeat. Easier said than done for most of us, but it can be done. Well, here to help us get through that is Dr. Shameen Castor, Associate Professor at the Department of Nutritional Sciences at Howard University. She is also a registered dietitian. Happy pre-Thanksgiving, Dr. Castor.
Thank you so much. You too.
Always good to have you on the program. Before we get into some strategies, talk to me a little bit about why do people tend to overeat during Thanksgiving?
Well, when we get with family and friends, we having the best time of our lives, and we have that family member that only cook once a year, and they are like the best. They are the best. They know how to cook. They know how to make that mac and cheese right. They know how to make that turkey right. They just know that they have that special love touch. And you just want to eat as much of it as possible because you feeling like there's not going to be anything left. And there's a possibility you may have cousin Pookie over and cousin Bam Bam coming over with their Tupperware. And by the time they're finished, you don't have no leftovers. So you trying to get it all in.
Cousin Bam Bam, he is me. I buy new Tupperware.
You must be related to my brother then.
Probably so. But it's also helpful to make sure that when I go to see my sister on Thursday, that she doesn't have no space left. She's got to have some place to put something, and at some point there just won't be any space left. So if I can be the loving brother and help, make sure that her refrigerator isn't cluttered, then so be it. But listen, I think that it's one thing for people to do this once a year or during this week, and it's really, really difficult for a lot of people not to overeat. But from a health perspective, how does overeating affect your digestion or even your overall health? Particularly if we're talking about somebody who may have a couple of extra pounds around the middle, so to speak.
Yeah, I see what you're saying here. So let's pick somebody that's diabetic, for example. And if that person has the conditions, they may want to space out their meals so they could regulate their sugar. But the thing is, they're in the excitement of the holidays, and because big Thanksgivings kick off that need to be connected with family. And when you connect with the family, food is the key thing that holds you all together. So you have a tendency to get overeat. And the danger of that is that when you overeat, you may cause yourself more duress, more health problems than anything. So why not space it out? So think about this as somebody that has a condition of diabetes or that are pre-diabetic. You may want to space your meals out every 3 hours. You're going to be there with the family member all day long. So go in, help your sister prep the meals, help the family member prep the meals. Some of y'all don't know how to cook, so you may want to help with set up the tables. You may want you to set up the plate, help clean up, go rake some leaves to prepare the digestive tract for the meal. And then use a small plate. Start with the salad, put as much vegetables thing, and then small portion of the meal so that way you can really enjoy it and not end up getting sick because you're overeating. So that may be one of the ways to look at, hey, you here with family, and hey, this is an opportunity for you to connect. You may also want to do what I call the Wendy theory. My sister Wendy is a nurse. What she does is she come in, she pre-pack her Tupperware with the food that she wants. She put it in her car, then she come back and eat small meals throughout the session, throughout or get together. That way she's eating very light. That works. Don't overdo it with a big plate. You're eating so much that your elastic pants can no longer take it. You button all your shirt, you're sweating left and right. That's not healthy because you're actually causing your body to work harder than it needs to. And you may want to slow down a bit.
You mentioned a couple of things that I wanted to drill down a little bit more on. You were talking about the body not having to work as hard as normal. So what is happening when many of us, and I've often been guilty of this as well, when we just eat to the point where we just feel stuffed? What is going on inside the body when we get to the point where we just can't eat anymore?
And I don't even understand, to be honest with you, why anybody would put themselves in that position. But it's all you binge eating. When you are eating too much, too quick, too fast, you're not allowing your body to digest the food properly. You binge eating, you're rushing, you're not really savoring the moment of the meal. And then the thing is, when you're overeating, you see that you're sweating, right? You're feeling sluggish, you're feeling drowsy. That's your indicator that you're eating too much. To slow down, take your time, piece by piece, take the time to savor the moment, enjoy the meal, because you know that when you keep doing that, you actually, and I have an example for you.
Sure.
I have a girlfriend that was, she decided that she was going to wait till, Thanksgiving dinner was like 6:00. She wasn't going to eat. She was going to wait. She was basically decided not to eat at all. And then when she got to the place she was just eating so much, she started sweating and she fainted a little bit because her heart muscle was working too hard. Her body was just like sweating. It's too much. So you may want to take it easy for a second, pull back, slow down, so that way you're not experiencing anything like stomach pain. You're not feeling discomfort. You're not bloating, and you're not feeling at ease because you decided that you want to overeat the food and not enjoy the moment of it. So you're causing yourself some sort of discomfort when you are doing that.
It's interesting. We often hear the jokes that, and usually it's the men talking about this, and not just about Thanksgiving, but when they go for a barbecue or cookout or something, and they say, "Yeah, I'm getting the meat sweats." Is that what's happening when you start to perspire when you eat too much meat or anything else?
What's happening is because you're eating too fast, you're not swallowing properly. You're most likely ingesting a lot of air because you're doing it so quick, so fast, and then it causes you to be bloated and have gas, and you feel like you're not breaking out the food. So it's going to cause you to have some kind of digestion issues. So you may want to slow down. That's what they're talking about, is what's happening, because their body's sweating, their body's not feeling right. So the body's trying to slow them down by trying to not sweat. But instead they're thinking like, this is great, let me keep doing it, let me keep eating more. No, it's not. Slow down. Take it easy. One bite at a time. Take the time to chew your food and chew your food well before swallowing it. And that sweat is because you're overeating and you're doing too much. And then your heart is pumping too fast. All of that is happening, causing the sweat, and the stomach is getting bloated. Slow down. The word here, slow down, so you could eat your meal and enjoy it.
Does eating too much on Thanksgiving cause long-term health issues? Let us say that you're not a diabetic and that you're healthy. You don't have hypertension or anything like that. But if you just go in on Thanksgiving, are there any dangers that eating heavily on Thanksgiving Day could portend down the road?
So, what happened is, if you go in there for some people and you are gorging, that's gluttony. You're eating excessively fast, and you get sick, and you're feeling. You could get sick. I know it's just one day, But at the same time, is that one day you're overeating, you're eating more, you could end up vomiting. You could end up getting any kind of GI problems. You could end up having your stomach is bloated. And it's just like, yeah, but it's one day. No, you don't need to do that in one day. You could actually slow down. You could eat multiple times throughout the day, slow it down. But sitting in one plate, eating the vast amount of food and all in one sitting, not properly chewing it, could actually lead you to having vomiting. You may have stomach bloating and discomfort. You could start sweating your body. You could even have diarrhea. So you may want to consider to slow it down, because none of that GI stuff that you're experiencing is even worth it.
So here's the other thing. We've often heard of the term the itis. Why do people get sleepy when they overeat? And also, what role does turkey have in making people feel sleepy after eating?
Okay, so which I tend not to like the idea of using the word the itis, but it's common that you feel sleeping because of several reasons. And because of that, what you may want to do is, and of course, slow it down. So you may get sleepy because, hey, your blood sugar could rise up and would cause you to have a decrease in energy. The carbohydrate that you're eating and the protein may increase the production of serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter that regulates mood and sleep cycle. The turkey may actually have high tryptophan in it, especially stuff like turkey cheese, and then that could help produce serotonin, which could actually make you sleepy. So that's what's happening. So you could actually reduce the food fatigue. That's what I call it, the food fatigue. By slowing it down. By slowing down what you're eating. Eat smaller size. Time your meals. Try not to, especially there's some of us that are lactose intolerant, but you don't care. You're just golfing that mac and cheese. Slow it down. Eat slowly. That way you're not experiencing some of these conditions, and you could actually enjoy your meal and enjoy Thanksgiving.
You mentioned earlier take breaks. So if you are there all day, if you get there at noon and you know you're going to be there until 9 or 10, and if dinner's at 3, I know there are the practical reasons, but if you eat at 3, do you really, and I know you probably said this, okay, you ate at 3, do you really need to eat at 6 and then you need to eat at 9 again? I mean, even if you space it out, too much is too much, isn't it?
But listen, again, I don't want to take Thanksgiving away from anyone. What I'm saying is, you there at 12, get a snack, eat some piece of fruit or something, drink some water. By the time 3 o'clock comes, because for the most part, a lot of people are hungry. They're coming in hungry. So then what happens is you get hungry, you want to put a large plate of food together so that way you could actually, you're eating a lot because you're rushing. Again, I say small plate, small portion, and then later on you could go back for seconds. You have people going for second that look like it's a combination of 5 plates together in one.
Yeah.
Food, right?
Yeah.
And then again, they're like, let me just have a little snack. And then they want to have dessert. But if you could take that in small portion, you could thoroughly enjoy the meal, because usually we overcook anyway. We usually have lots of food available. So it's not as if we're going to run out. As a matter of fact, sometimes we end up having food for the next 2 or 3 days. But if you space it out and enjoy it, then you could have a nice to-go meal to go. And then you will take that to-go meal, properly put it in a proper fridge properly so that you don't end up with other health-related problems. But just take your time and take it easy.
Hold on, because I have so many more questions to ask you. We are going to take a quick break, but don't forget you can hear this and every edition of the Daily Drum Insight segment via podcast on WHUR.com. The Original Quiet Storm with Raheem Devon is next on WHUR. I'm Harold Fisher. This conversation continues on Sirius XM, channel 141 and 96.3 HD2 in just a few seconds. Welcome back to the Daily Drum on Sirius XM Channel 141. I'm Harold Fisher. We continue our discussion about overeating and eating healthy during the Thanksgiving holiday. My guest is Dr. Shameen Castor. She's a registered dietitian and associate professor in the Department of Nutritional Sciences at Howard University. So, Dr. Castor,
Yes.
and I've got to throw this in there because we have to call a thing. So you're a vegan.
Yes.
I'm always, look, no shade, maybe a little shade, not a, but just a little shade to the vegans. But what do you eat for Thanksgiving?
What? I'm glad you asked.
I want to know because let me say, there's a difference between vegan and vegetarian. The vegetarians, if the stuffing doesn't have meat in it, they'll eat that. If they just won't eat the ham, they just won't eat the turkey, but they may eat the greens, they may eat around that, the vegetarians, because their healthy lifestyle of eating is not as, shall I say, restrictive. But for vegans, how does that work for you for Thanksgiving? And let me add, I'm sure that even vegans may have an issue with overeating on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's true. Vegan may overeat over Thanksgiving because it's not just that; it's the portion size. But as far as being a vegan, I've become really, really have like developed such a palate for different type of food that I even have a cookbook coming out. I don't want any more salad. I mentioned to you, it's all vegan and vegetarian meals. Like for example, you could have some nice lentil soup, right? And you could have the cauliflower wings that you make together. You could have some black Haitian rice. I'm from the island. I'm from Haiti, so we have black Haitian rice. You could have some jerk tofu. There's all kind of meals that you could have to enjoy the ambiance of Thanksgiving. And the other thing of Thanksgiving is not just the eating, but it's the family connection as well. So yes, but me, I try not to overeat because overeating is not going to sit well with me. It's going to give me that indigestion. So what I tend to do, again, I space out my meals and I eat small meals a day. I am blessed to say that my family members and my friend over the years understand my dietary habit and restriction and have incorporated a lot of recipes to make sure that the meal time is pleasant for me as well.
Oh, I thought that they would just put you in a corner.
Yeah, the first year I told them I was a vegan. That's what they did. They put me in a corner with the kids. They gave me some salad. They gave me a bowl of fruits. But I was like, oh, that's what we're doing? We're going to change that. So then I started the second year, I bought my own food.
Wow.
And then my sister was like, oh my God, you bought your own food. I don't like that. I want to make sure everything is okay with you. So then she started making sure that things are, a lot of stuff included. As a matter of fact, sometimes my stuff is run out because everybody is tasting I have this great, the lentil stew. We have the Tanzania coconut vegetable stew that we make. By the time I get there, if my sister don't take some of them out for me, I'm not gonna get it. I have this cassava leaf stew that I've gotten from the Congos. That's amazing. And then I have this Ugandan ground soup that's made. So I have all these recipes that I've had for Thanksgiving. That's been amazing. Where family members now will be like, I said, well, you know what? You guys could eat everything else. This is for me. They say, well, yeah, that's great, but this is good, and this is Thanksgiving. It's free for all. It's not my fault you can't eat this. So
yeah, I like I said, I mean, all of those things, they do sound wonderful, and for people like yourself who are, you're you're Haitian, and that's not so much the traditional American Thanksgiving. Hey, nothing wrong with adding a little spice, a little, ground nut soup or what have you. I guess my sister would give me the side eye if I brought some of that over. But with that said, I think that mindful eating, whether it's vegan, vegetarian, or the full blown carnivore, that it's not so much what you eat, but how you eat it.
And how much. When we talk about mindful eating, is being present in the moment, taking the time to really focus and enjoy what you're doing eating. You can't have, because I've seen this where we have people with like this large plate of food in front of them, and they're the internet, they're taking pictures of it, they're posting it. They're not really thinking, they're just eating and eating and eating. They're not slowing down. And the thing is, the whole idea of family getting together for Thanksgiving is because you want to take the time to be thankful. It's a day that's been designated as a time to be thankful for the fact that you have access to food. So slow down, be in the present, be in the moment. I actually think that one of the rules of Thanksgiving should be where people put their phone, they either leave their phone or leave it in their bag, so you could be present in the moment, so you could take the time to enjoy your meal, to chew the meal, pay attention to what you're eating. The reason that you want to pay attention to eating, because when we sometimes go home to eat, there's a lot of cross contamination or cross. And the reason I say you got to pay attention to the cross contamination is because let's say somebody develops some kind of food allergies. You want to know what they had in their plate, and you want to know what they're eating. So it's very important, right, to pay attention to what you're doing. Be mindful, be in the present, be in the moment, enjoy, connect with the siblings, find out what's going on with Junior, find out what happened with Keisha and how well she's doing in school, find out what's her next thing and how you may be able to help her network. Take the time as an opportunity to connect with family and sibling, and believe it or not, that intentionality of connecting would help young people from not feeling so isolated, right? Help young people to connect and help young people to understand the transition of their family. And yes, in the African American community, yeah, I know you said I'm from the island and all, but listen, they have that vegan mac and cheese, they have that beans burger, they have that cauliflower thing, they have that. But take the time while you're slowly eating to connect with the family, so that way you could actually find out what's going on and see. You could see what's going on with people, and people are in need of connection, especially post-COVID. So this is an opportunity for us to come back again to the family that once was, where we're not looking at our cell phone, we're not posting what we're eating, but we're actually connecting and talking to each other.
Let me ask you this. Let us say, and as you know, we've been having pretty pleasant weather, and Thanksgiving promises to be the same. Would you recommend somebody taking a walk after that 3 o'clock throwdown?
Yes.
I mean, would you do that on a full stomach? Do you need to let it digest a little first, or what?
I would recommend after eating that, instead of sitting down and go, isn't there football? Isn't there some kind of football?
All day. All
right. Instead of getting to sit there and watch football, go ahead and take a walk. Before you sit down, and go ahead and take a walk to help. And matter of fact, when you're going for that walk, take one of the young cousins with you. Have a conversation. Find out where their minds are. Connect with them. Because all young people is in need of that connection with the elders. So my suggestion is, yes, go take a walk. After the second plate, go take a walk after the third plate. Because you could always watch the highlight of the game and see it, CNN. You could always do that. But this is an opportunity to regain that level of connection that in our communities, whether you're Haitian, whether you're African American, whether you're from the Caribbean, connection is important for us. This is an opportunity to come together and connect and celebrate togetherness. Thanksgiving is it's a little controversy around that. But don't focus on the controversy. Focus on the opportunity that we're connecting with family. Focus on the opportunity that we connect, and we're connecting with family members, especially the young one that's in need of that adult connection. Let me ask you about the plate itself.
because for those who are, blessed enough to have, large, families and the resources to have, more than just the turkey. And I just listened to the conversation that I had with my sister. I know there's going to be a fried turkey. There's going to be a roast turkey. There's going to be ham. There's going to be ribs. And a fifth meat, which I can't even remember. Maybe brontosaurus. I don't know. But with all of that said, and I'm sure there are going to be greens, mac and cheese, sweet potatoes, mashed potatoes. How do you, even if you are being mindful of how much you eat, how do you balance not the portions, but specifically? Because I've already mentioned more meat, more carbs, more starches than greens. So how do you balance that? Or is it, even if you are a perfectly healthy person, do you not balance it? You eat what you want, just try to reduce the portions?
Well, I am mindful of what I eat. So I do recommend that. Look at your plate. Put large amount of vegetables in that plate. All right. And then put the nice 2 ounces of portion meat and then the starch. You could do that. And then later on, after you come back for the second walk, you could have another plate where you taste the other meat. You don't have to pile all of it together, because the whole concept of mindful eating is to take the time to savor the moment as well, to be intentionally paying attention to what you're eating, right? So when you pile it all up together, you're not really tasting anything. You're just piling a whole bunch of flavors coming together. But if you put it all together and you put the amount of vegetables in there, you're actually consuming less calories and then less fat. And I know it's Thanksgiving. Don't come at me. I know it's Thanksgiving. I'm
trying to help you here.
Yeah, I'm trying to help you here, but I'm trying you to be mindful of all that you are eating. Pay attention, put a small plate, and then come back later after the walk, put another small plate. And the thing that way you get a chance to taste what is really good. Because a lot of time we mix it all together, we can't tell if all the food tastes good. We're just eating just to be eating. Take the time to savor that moment, to enhance your palate, to take the joy and enjoy what you're eating. So you have all these flavors going on, but we're not taking the time to really enjoy it.
So, other question: what impact does the consumption of alcohol have on this process? And there's going to be wine. There's going to be, your brother's favorite concoction. There may be the eggnog. There may be something that is certainly going to have a high alcohol content. What impact does that have versus not having any alcoholic beverages at all have on the overall health of this particular day?
So I will try not to introduce my bias into this, but I really don't think that we should have
your bias. Whatever your bias, whatever do you mean, Dr. Castor? I'm not sure I understand.
Because you can't really tell adults not to drink. But my mind is Thanksgiving, you're driving.
Well, yeah,
yes,
and that's a whole different conversation.
Yes. So in my mind, I'm like, you're driving. Let's put that away. But here's the thing: because alcohol has high amount of fat of carbohydrate in it. So then, hey, listen, those that are diabetic, alcohol will not be the best thing to incorporate into this meal. But if you're gonna have a little alcohol, a 4 ounce, 2 to 4 ounces is fine while you're eating. That's fine. But if you limit the amount of alcohol that you want to take, limit the amount of alcohol that you want to consume, because you're also going to be eating a lot of food. Mm-hmm. And of course that helps you to not get sick too, because sometimes if you consume alcohol and you're eating all this stuff, you may actually get sick. You might actually not feel well, may actually end up with all kind of GI function. But I do think that for the most part, to limit the amount of you of eating, of drinking, so that way you could actually take the time to really enjoy the food. So maybe just do some sparkling apple cider. Yeah. Instead of a margarita, instead of a pumpkin margarita. And be careful because there's kids around. So if you're having like a punch bowl and you leave it open, kids could take some in it. So there's some caution there that you have to take. But I do say that to be mindful that not just the amount of calories that you're eating, because alcohol will also lead you to drinking or consuming a lot of calories as well.
I want to talk a little bit more about after Thanksgiving, as I jokingly, but only partially joked. Yeah, you're going to have Uncle Bam Bam come in with new Tupperware and to take stuff home. If it's not frozen, talk about the different kinds of items that will be. How long will certain things last in the refrigerator? Turkey, ham, sides, etc. Does everything have the same refrigerated shelf life?
So how about we do it like my brother does it? He bring a Tupperware that's compartmentalized, like that has a little compartment that he'll put the meat in one side and put all the food on one side. And when he get home, he'll take the turkey out, wrap it up and put it in a Ziploc bag, nicely sealed, and put it in a freezer, and put the rest of the stuff in the fridge. So that way, when he's warming it up, so he could make sure that that turkey has a little bit more heat than the rest, so that way that all of possible bacteria or anything, so that he won't get sick. My recommendation is, and I think that's actually a great way to do it. Now, for those family members, again, don't blame me. But for those of you out there that are listening to me, go get yourself some Ziploc bag, right? Mm-hmm. When you're taking some stuff home, put each one of them in a Ziploc bag, seal them nicely, put the date, so that best you have food for at least 2 to 3 days. You could put them in the fridge. Do not let them sit there in the fridge for 2 weeks and expect that you're not going to get sick from eating that. So 2 to 3 days is great. It's not for 6 to 7 days. You want to make sure that everything was properly reheated, so that way you could eat it so you won't get sick.
Okay. So refrigerated, whatever it is, 2 to 3 days.
Yeah.
If you're not going to do that for, if you want it to have it longer, then put it in the freezer right away.
Yeah.
So here's the other thing, and this goes back to being, frugal, that frugal background that I grew up in so many families. You've got very little turkey left. You really have the turkey carcass. And so the next thing is turkey soup. But again, because you may not necessarily make that turkey soup right away, what do you do with that? Do you cut it up and bones it all so that it is compact enough, and then you freeze that as well?
Yeah, I have it. So what I've done for me is, not only do I cut it up and put it, yes, I still cook turkey and all that stuff for family member, even though I'm a vegan. I'll put it up and I'll put a little more seasoning in it, put it in a Ziploc bag tight, and then put it in a freezer. And then a couple of days later, I'll use it to make the soup. Because we cook in our family, we cook the turkey several ways. We'll chop it up, season it well, cook it well, marinate it with all the sauce, and then we use some of that sauce and put it in the other turkey the bones of the other turkey, put all that seasoning in there, seal it, and then so that way we could make the soup a couple of days later, like Saturday at best is when we make the soup. But we still make sure that it's properly refrigerated and it's so that way it's properly sealed. Number one, not to make a mess in the fridge. Number two, so that way we're not introducing any kind of bacteria or illness within the in our soup.
We talked about freezing to make sure that things last longer. Refrigerated life 2 to 3 days. What's the freezer like for the things like whether it's ham or turkey or the mac and cheese or the sweet potatoes? Is it different for each of those when you freeze them?
For me, at best, a week and a half.
Really?
Because you still want to make sure, and again, you want to seal it properly so you don't have that icy taste to it, that old icy taste. So then you want to make sure that it's properly refrigerated. And then when when it's in a freezer, you take it out. You want to make sure. Here's the other thing I'm recommending too. You put the portion size. You do it in portion size, so you could take it one at a time, because you don't want to keep having to pull the large portion, take it out there, put it, defrost it, and put it back again. That run the risk of getting sick of food poisoning, of developing some kind of bacteria. What you do is you put it in small Ziploc bag based on the portion size you're going to eat for that day. So when you defrost it and warm it to eat it. Don't do the large part and then defrost the large part and then and put it back again. That's not really good. That's not really sanitary. That's not really healthy. So you want to make sure that you do it portion by portion. And if you happen to have put that large portion, just take the part that you need and put it back in the freezer. Date, of course, make sure you have a proper date, and then you come back, you use it. At best, to me, at best, it's 2 weeks. If it's frozen, it's well, the air is out, it's not going to cause any illness. At best, 2 weeks. But to me, after Thanksgiving, no more than 5 days, 3 days in the fridge, freezer, 5 days, use it, do it, and be done. Because you got to prepare yourself for Christmas, right?
Yeah, and I was about to say that because, in those large families, or where people are not necessarily coming from far away, where they're local, you're gonna have a big Thanksgiving, you're gonna have a big Christmas, and you could have a big New Year's Day feast as well. So it's boom, 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 back to back, which goes back to the whole conversation about healthy eating, because the eating season, if you will, it starts this week, but it doesn't end really until the first week of January.
You're absolutely right. And that's why you tend to see people gaining 5 to 10 pounds, 5 to 7 pounds throughout the holidays, because they're attending all these functions where food is the center of attention. That's great. But you don't have to eat. You don't have to overdo it. So here's some ways that you could think about it. Think of it this season as the season that will save you money from going and have to buy lunch. So what you do is pack up what you're going to eat that, and save some for lunch. And think of it the season that's going to save you time from having to cook. Bring some of it home so you don't have to cook. But what we don't have to do is eat so much. Again, I just want to say that's gluttony. Eat so much that you're feeling like uneasy and uncomfortable. Your clothes is not fitting right. Your stomach is protruding out there looking like a pound cake. And then you're feeling uncomfortable. Just bring it down, small portion. Save yourself $12 a day because you have enough saved for lunch. And you have saved for dinner where you don't have to cook. Use this season as an opportunity to connect and socialize, where you're not overeating, an opportunity to connect with people, an opportunity to read the book that you've been wanting to read because you're not spending time cooking, by eating small portion and saving the rest.
I've got a few minutes more actually, and I do want to talk to you about, since you mentioned it, what was it? Don't give me any more salad, or I don't want any more salad. This book that you're coming out with. We need to have another full-blown conversation about veganism, and the like. But So what's the title? And first of all, what's the title, and when is it coming out?
It's I don't want any more salad for the holidays. It's coming out December 14th on Amazon because the whole idea is, I don't know if you remember the conversation our last time we were together. You said I went to somebody's house, all they had was cheese, and I didn't really like cheese. And I went home and thought about it. I said, you know what, I could write a book about this, and that's how you got started. So I want to thank you for that idea, and it got me thinking that. So I got a couple of my friends that are chefs. And I got a couple of my friends that are food service director. We came together and we started developing it. We look at food for places that are mostly at places that we have traveled, and we decided to put it together. So it's coming out December 14th. I don't want any more salad. It's food from everywhere that we've traveled to. Looking at how we could do it for the holidays, how we could eat vegan, vegetarian meals for the holidays.
Yeah, and now I remember. Yeah, it was a birthday party for a really good sister friend of mine, and it was catered, but everything had cheese or a dairy-based sauce.
Yes.
There was nothing that had a brown sauce or no sauce, and let us say that my stomach was extremely disappointed by that. And but with that said, on the vegan tip, I do think that, and I've eaten some vegan things, and yes, I think some of them disguise themselves well when it comes to meat related textures, and the like. I'm not quite there yet, but again, no shade to those who are. And hey, hopefully, whether it's vegan, vegetarian, or the full-blown carnivore, the people on Thanksgiving and beyond take the time to eat healthy.
Yes, and enjoy it.
Yeah. Dr. Shameen Castor, always a pleasure. Always fun to talk to you. You have a happy Thanksgiving, and I really appreciate your time.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me.
Sure thing. That is the Daily Drum for this Monday, November 25th. I'm Harold Fisher.